So, once upon a time, there was a little mouse called Misty. He lived in the country. One day, he asked a little mouse called Sonu from the city to visit him. So, Misty, who is living in a city, is being invited by Sonu, who lives in a city. When Sonu arrived, Misty is inviting Sonu. Sonu, actually, who is living in a city. He is asked to visit Misty, who is living in a village. So, when Sonu arrived, they sat down for dinner. Usually, when a guest comes, we give them food. So, same way, this Misty gave him barley and grain to eat. Sonu was surprised. Really, he said, you do not eat well at all. When he is seeing this cheap food, what Sonu is commenting, he is telling, really, he said, you do not eat well at all. You are not eating well at all, because he is eating barley, grains, etc. So, he is telling, you do not eat well at all. You should see how I live. And he is asking Misty to see how he is living in a city. You should see how I live. I have all sorts of fine things to eat every day. Because as he is living in a city, he will be having good food. So you should see how I live. I have all sorts of fine things to eat every day. You must come to visit me. So Sonu is inviting Misty to see his city life, how he is leading a life in a city with lots of good food. It is really very nice to live in the city. Sonu is telling, it's very nice to live in a city. Little Misty did just that. A few weeks later, he went to the city to visit his friend. So, according to the Sonu's invitation, Misty is going to Sonu's house after few weeks. He is visiting Sonu. Sonu took Misty to see a cupboard. It was in the kitchen of the house where he lived. So Sonu is taking Misty to see a cupboard. It was in the kitchen of the house where he lived. They climbed onto the lowest shelf. So they climbed to the lowest shelf. There, behind some stone jars, stood a big paper bag of brown sugar. So, in the shelf, there was brown sugar kept in a paper bag. Little Sonu gnawed a hole in the bag. So, what did Sonu do? He tore the paper bag with his teeth. Gnawed means to tear it. He made a hole there. Then he invited his friend to nibble for himself. So he asked his friend Misty to eat the sugar. The two little mice nibbled and nibbled. So the two mice nibbled and nibbled. Misty thought it was the most delicious thing he had ever eaten. So Misty is not used to such kind of food. When he gets this, when he eats, he thinks it is the most delicious thing he had ever eaten. So he is very, very surprised, excited, and he is enjoying the food. And his thinking, Misty thought it was the most delicious thing he had ever eaten. How lucky Sonu is. So he's thinking how lucky Sonu is. He thought as he ate. Suddenly, the door opened with a bang. The cook Mary wanted to get some flour. At that time, there was a big sound on the door, and it was the cook of that house, Mary. She came to take some flour from the cupboard. But these two little mice, what happened? They got frightened hearing the sound. So suddenly the door opened with a bang. The cook Mary wanted to get some flour. You know, flour, maybe of wheat, rice, or anything. So she wanted to take some flour from the cupboard. Run, whispered Sonu. As they heard the sound, Sonu whispered to Misty, run. They ran as fast as they could. They rushed into the little hole from where they had come in. So they somehow escaped from there. They thought somebody was going to catch them. So they ran into the hole from where they had come. Poor Misty was shaking all over. So these things Misty was not at all used to. She was living very freely in the village. So when suddenly she came here, hearing the big sound and Sonu's whispering, run, all these things made Misty very disappointed. Misty was very afraid. What did Misty do? Misty was shaking all over with fear. However, Sonu said, that's nothing, she will soon go away. But again, Sonu is consoling her that no problem, nothing will happen, she'll go away. Then we can go back and we can go back again into the cupboard. After the cook had gone away and shut the door, they stole softly back. Again, they stole softly back means they again reached the cupboard. This time Sonu had something new to show Misty. This time Sonu was showing something new. He took Misty into a corner on the top shelf. Before they were in the lowest shelf. Now they reached the top shelf. A big jar of raisins stood there. So, big, what are raisins? The black color grapes that we put in payasam, that are raisins. Okay, so a big jar of raisins stood there. Opened, the jar was opened. After much tugging and pulling, they got a large dried raisin out of the jar onto the shelf and began to nibble at it. So somehow they got into the jar after tugging and pulling. They took a raisin from the jar and started nibbling it. This was even better than the brown sugar. So again it was a new food for Misty. He was very much enjoying the raisins. Okay, so what did he think? He was thinking how lucky Sonu is to have such kind of food. So this was even better than the brown sugar. Misty liked the taste so much. So Misty liked the taste very much that he ate it as fast as he could. So he started eating it as fast as he could. All at once they heard a scratching at the door and a sharp, loud meow. So you all know the rats are afraid of the meow sound. That's the noise of the cat. So it was the sound of a cat. So what is that? Asked Misty, alarmed. Alarmed means very frightened. Misty is asking Sonu, what's that noise? Sonu whispered, shh. Then he ran as fast as he could to the hole. Then what did they do? They ran again back to the hole. Misty ran after him. So as he saw Sonu running, Misty ran after him. He did not know what the noise was. As soon as they were out of danger, Sonu said, that was Billu, the old cat. So when they reached the hole, they were out of danger. That time Sonu is telling Misty, that was Billu, the old cat. It was The name of the old cat was Billu. She is the best mouser in town. So, Sonu is introducing Billu, right? Telling that he is the best, she is the best mouser in town. Means the one who catches the mouse is called a mouser. If she catches you, you are lost. Because they escape from the old cat. If the cat catch, then what to say? All will be over. If she catches you, you are lost. This is really terrible, said Misty. When Misty heard about the cat, Misty was totally upset. This is really terrible, said Misty. Let us not go back to the cupboard again. So Misty now is really frightened. What did Misty tell? Let us not go back to the cupboard again. We shall not go back to the cupboard again. No, said Sonu, but I'll take you to the cellar. So now Sonu want to take him to a new place. Where is that? It is the cellar. It's a place where we store food. All of us have a storeroom in our house where we store our rice, flour, all our food items we store in a storeroom. Likewise, here in this house there is a cellar. There is something special there. So Sonu is telling, in the cellar you have something special over there. So Sonu took his little friend down the cellar stairs. They went into a big cupboard where there were many shelves. So here Sonu is taking Misty to the cellar where there is a big cupboard and there are many shelves. Okay, we can stop for here for today.